Hello and welcome to another Solana tutorial. Today we're gonna talk about Solana Pay.
How about we put our microphone to our mouth, then we also have better sound. Anyway, we're gonna talk about Solana Pay. A little background on this, little side story. I'm currently super motivated to find out how Solana Pay works because I saw Super Team DAO use those nice QR codes in their community calls or ecosystem calls to distribute proof of attendance. And that uses Solana Pay. And I was like, well, I kind of would like to have that for my loop videos. So when you watch my live stream, you can go there and mint the song or something like that. And then today, during my yoga class, I had the brilliant idea of, hey, why not do it here on this channel as well? I want to have it here on this channel with Solana Pay that you can just scan a QR code and then mint yourself the cNFT of this particular video, whatever that's gonna be. And yeah, I like that idea so much that I'm now super motivated to make this video. I did not intend to make a video today, and I'm gonna make another video today. Moral of this story of mine is, if you want to learn something, pick a project. I also said that in the Sourcecode podcast when they interviewed me, what's the best way to learn? I'm like, well, just think of something that you want to build and then figure it out how to build it. Because then you'll have the motivation to actually learn it. Because if it's just theory, you're like, yeah, whatever, I'll skip that. It's probably not so important. But if you go the other way around, you'll be like, this is my problem. How do I fix it? You learn much easier, I think. So I think I can fix my problem with Solana Pay. So I want to look into it. And that's why I make this video today. I mean, Solana Pay has been out for a while, but today we actually look at it. Yeah. Okay. The high-level overview of Solana Pay. It's an open source protocol built on the Solana blockchain. Well, okay, fine. It's got something to do with Solana. We would have figured that out. Anyone can build on or transact with Solana Pay. Well, okay, that's the kind of the point of being open. Imagine sending money at the speed and cost of sending data across the internet. Well, I mean, yeah, that's what Solana is known for. This is the promise of Solana Pay. From this description, it doesn't really say really what it is, because with Solana you can also send money around. But what Solana Pay does is it allows a merchant to build the transaction for you. But that is very technical jargon, so they did not use that here. Yeah, that's all just Solana promo here. Near zero fees. Move within seconds. I'm not actually interested in the Solana pitch. This is a nice thing. They added basically functionality for any sort of transaction. You can do anything like loyalty programs. Opportunities are limitless. How does Solana Pay work? You just need to open your wallet and scan a QR code, or hold your phone to an NFC tag. So essentially they do it via links, and we follow a link, and then the wallet does the rest essentially. The wallet displays the transaction. So for the user, it's super convenient. You just scan something, whether it be a QR code or an NFC tag, or even a link that you click, and then the wallet does the rest to request the transaction and display it to you such that you can sign it. That's the high-level overview. But we're not done with high-level overviews. Obviously, we like to dive in deep into the tech. So let's have a closer look how the tech behind that works. Docs. So most major wallets support Solana Pay. Use @solana/pay JavaScript SDK. That is even on Solana Labs. Hey, yeah, that's cool. So there are two types of requests, the transaction requests and the transfer requests. That's what Solana Pay started with, just transfer requests. So request to transfer something. But with transaction requests, you can essentially create any kind of Solana transaction. And that's the cool thing. So that's what we're going to have a look at today. It is all in the specification. Wow, it's actually really detailed. Don't even need that much documentation to get it to work, but hey, that's cool. The more the better. Just for completeness, let's also look at transfer requests. Essentially, Solana Pay would create a link that always starts with Solana, double point. Then the recipient, which is a public key, base 58 encoded public key. So who should receive the money? That's a URL. So those are now URL parameters, these, and the amount, how many, what type of SPL token, or alternatively, it's SOL. If the field is not provided, the URL describes a native SOL transfer. For SOL, that's SOL, not Lamperts. For tokens, use UI amount to string. We can include a reference, a label, and the message and the memo. You know, with the memo program, a message and the label for like branding, what you're paying for here essentially. So that would look something like this. And that we pack into a QR code, and then the user scans it and can sign it in their wallet. Let's look at that in this nice graphic here. So the merchant, our web page or whatever, creates this payment link, and then via QR code or NFC tag or whatever, the link gets to the customer. So that's the customer scans with their phone what they need to pay. Oh wait, here you just create the link and then you display it here. The customer looks at that. This graphic is weird. Anyway, so the customer scans the QR code and then approves it in their wallet. So from the QR code, it made the way to the wallet, and in the wallet it is approved. And once the approve is hit, then the wallet sends it to an RPC node. So it lands on the Solana blockchain, and then the merchant needs to find that transaction and confirm it that it has been processed and finalized. And then the merchant can say, okay, you have paid. And I guess the easiest way is to track it by memo or some public key or whatever. In this case, the merchant does not know who is paying, right? They don't know the public key of the user wallet because they just know their public key, which is the receiver. And then the customer can read that and send their money to the receiver. And then the merchant needs to find that one. However, transfer requests are the boring type. I'm not interested in requesting any SPL token or SOL from anyone. So I want a transaction request. Let's also look at that specification first. Essentially, it's Solana, double point, and then a link. Yes. And that link can be any link that goes anywhere, really. It must just support two things, a GET request and a POST request. At the GET request, essentially, wait, is that actually better? I sometimes think that night mode is much nicer to work with. Let me know in the comments below if you prefer light or night, dark or bright. Since it's night, I'm gonna go with night mode. What I was saying is, at the GET request, if there's a GET request coming in, then whoever's providing this page should create the following response, a label and an icon. So you should create a JSON response and provide label and icon. This is essentially for the wallet to show something, right? So you get the icon and you get the label, what is happening there. Describes the source of the transaction request. For instance, the name of your brand or whatever. And then the more interesting part, for the POST request, in the POST request, by the way, we add some data, account, and then our public key in base 58. So a classic public key, account, double point, our public key, such that this time the merchant knows my public key because they need to know in order to build the transaction. And that's what makes this so much nicer and more flexible to work with. In that case, the merchant will actually know. So they will be able to also sign the transaction already. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. The POST response is then essentially going to be transaction and again an encoded transaction, this time base 64 encoded. A serialized transaction. And we have talked about those things before when we did the offline signing and nonces and all that stuff. I'll put I can't reach that high, but I put the video up there such that you can go watch that. That's a good starting point for baseline understanding of transaction serialization. And then essentially what the wallet does, it first decodes and then deserializes that transaction and then displays it to the user for signing. We can also add a message here to the transaction. Now let's look at that in the nice graphic here. So much better now. Really, the first step is the merchant creates the link and displays it to the customer. This first step is not here, but so essentially this part, except it's not the payment link, but it's just the link. But it can be more static. Maybe the link just doesn't change, so it's not in this graphic. Anyway, so the customer scans the QR code and tells the wallet, hey, this is my Solana double point link that I want to follow. What the wallet then does, well, first it does this post request to the link, and behind the link is the merchant's server, and it will send its wallet pub key to the merchant. So then the merchant knows who wants to perform this transaction. They can then build the transaction with the pub key of the customer, optionally also already partly sign the transaction, and then serialize it out and send it back to the wallet. The wallet then displays this, and the customer can look at it and be like, oh yeah, looks good, I approve. Here it also, simulates the transaction if it's a good wallet. I mean, all of the wallets simulate the transactions unless you use custom ones. And then the user can click approve, and that will tell the wallet then to, send it out to the RPC to hit the Solana blockchain. And then the transaction gets confirmed. And since the merchant already knows which transaction it's going to be, they already know the signature. So they just need to check for that transaction to be confirmed or finalized, depending on how safe they want to be. That's the theory. Now let's do that in practice. Can't be so hard, right? So create a transaction request. There's docs for that. This section describes how a merchant can integrate Solana Pay transaction requests into their payment flow. That's what we want to do. We're gonna build our server using Next.js API routes. Essentially, we can do anything as long as we support HTTP post requests and the get for the image. So, step 1, set up Solana Pay. We just npm install all of this. The advantage of night mode is that if I skip between my Visual Studio and the browser, then it's not like strobe lights, which it is with light mode. So install all of this. Okay, we need to create a Next.js app. How do we do that? Create next app. But if it already starts out super red, then something is wrong. You know what? I don't like this. I'm just going to create another one. Solana Pay handler. But there I have an API. That's the sort of thing I want. What do we start with? Getting the link to the client? Or do we just copy the link for now? And because creating QR codes is probably not so simple. But I know a project that did it. Jonas built a game where he uses Solana Pay. I'm just interested in the QR code part. I just want to know how he displays them, because this is not the focus of this video. I just want to quickly get that done. Ooh, Solana Pay has a create QR. Oh, that's handy. Let's see if we can use that. Okay, so step 1, creating a QR code. Can I just run this now? That's the scaffold. Essentially, I need none of this stuff. I just want to somehow get the QR code in there. But what we need is from Solana Pay, I would like create QR. Create a QR code from Solana Pay URI. Great, it's all in there. I'll take it. How do I now actually do this? QR code is create QR with the URL. Just gonna hardcode my IP address for now and hope that that works. And then port 3000. I don't think it's gonna work with telling it the port as well. But for now, we just focus on creating a QR code, so let's not worry about this. So, size, I don't know, a number. What did Jonas pick? 360, that's a great number. And then background. I don't know what I can put in here. And then color. Black on white. And this needs to be a string or a URL. String will do. Okay, so then we have our QR, which is a QR code styling. Do you need to get what they're doing here? Is there another example? You create QR from a mint URL. And then what do you do with this? Set the generated QR code on the QR ref element. So yeah, that's what Jonas does as well. Puts a QR ref element somewhere, which is just a division. QR ref. Where did you create it? Use ref. Does it work? Let's see what it looks like. Like nothing. What? I add log and then it's suddenly here. Sure. I take it. Maybe I just didn't refresh it. So I have a QR code here. What if I take out my phone that is just any random phone, right? Or specifically a Saga. And I unlock it and I go to my wallet. I click the QR code thingy. Wait, I'm gonna... You know, I could screen capture this as well. Oh, transparent. Look, it's... But then I just scan this. And it tells me request failed. That's fair enough, because behind this there's nothing running yet. But hey, I can already scan the QR code. Okay, close. Okay, let's try and put something behind this. So the QR code generation wasn't even that hard. I expected that to be a bit more difficult, but hey. We just have a create QR in there and then need to do something that I don't quite understand, but just copying code, what could possibly go wrong, right? It's also not the most important part, because it doesn't matter how we get the link to the wallet. QR codes are one possibility, and you can use any QR code library. If we use this one, it's nice because it has the nice Solana logo in the middle and just looks cool. So let's go to our API and modify our handler, because we don't want to just always return this John Doe. Let's see what we have here. Request. Do you have a method? You have a method. And then what could it be? It's a string. Okay, so how about get? Do I get any kind of logs? If I were to get those logs, how do we need to call the API? Localhost API, right? Ah, yeah. Okay, so if we do a API hello, then we get to this name, John Doe. I don't know where the login comes from. Oh, yeah, cool. We see it here. That's logged in the backend now. Perfect. We received a GET request. Perfect. That's already looking good. Now, maybe rename this to... No, I don't care. We leave it at hello. We just change the link to hello. We just change /API/hello and encode that into our URL as well. Then the QR code changed. Still failed, obviously, but did I get a request? No, I did not. I might not be able to go via my IP address and this port. I mean, I could, of course, deploy it somewhere, but it would be really nice if I could just develop locally. I mean, I'm not even dealing with Solana Pay at this point. I'm just getting frustrated with not connecting to my own freaking machine. Cannot connect. What is this? Okay, let's try something. We're gonna need to set that up eventually anyway. It's a Raspberry Pi. That's also a slow computer. In the meantime, let's do something at least. Let's pretend this was working and we could get our GET requests. What do we need to do? So on the GET request, I just get Andy Pay, Solandy Pay. Just gonna copy this link. Get data. There you go. Typed it for you. So if I now were to go to my hello API, then I would get this. And this is what we expect there from the GET. So this is just what the wallet would display. Do you trust this app? Kind of, right? On the post, what would we do there? There we would build the entire transaction. On post, yeah, there we would do something more complicated. First thing we would do is get out the account from our request. Get the account. If we don't have the account, we say that ain't gonna work. Then we create ourselves a public key from that data. That's just the base 58 encoded address, and we'll make a public key. Gotta import that from Solana Web 3. And then we can essentially do what we want until we serialize the transaction and putting it as a transaction with transaction message. So the post response would be transaction and message. So, and building the transaction, that's on us. And then when we have the transaction, we just serialize it. And the serialized transaction we encode with base 64 and put that into the body. I mean, the simplest way is just to do a simple transfer just to get it to work until there. So I could be like system program transfer from the sender to my address, Solandy Pay. I mean, this is quite slow because I'm recording as well. There we go. And we have a pay pub key with this address, pay me, and Lamperts are gonna be, I don't know, 1337. So how about 0.1337? 123, 123. Why not? And that, we add the instruction to the transaction and then we can serialize it. That's the simplest case, just some salt transfer. I mean, again, we could have done this with the transfer request, but I still prefer the transaction request for everything because I can just change it manually and I could there even sign for them. I could be the fee payer like this if they don't have any SOL on their wallets. I mean, I love that transfer request. It's so much better. Anyway, this is not running, is it? I mean, didn't I npm-i all of this? It says it's up to date, but it's missing a lot of stuff. Can't resolve big number chess. Well, this is getting close now, though. I guess from one rabbit hole to the other. I couldn't make it run on my machine, so I tried to make it run on my Raspberry Pi, which is even more complicated. And I don't even know if it works there. Solana Pay is really simple. All the rest isn't. All the npm front-end stuff. I mean, I could also just deploy it somewhere on Vercel or something. Actually, that would probably be much faster than me trying to make it run on Raspberry Pi. Should we just skip the local deployment? Okay, you know what? We'll skip the local installing and we deploy right to Vercel. Why didn't I do that from the beginning? I spent the last 3 hours just trying to make it work locally. But just push it to Vercel. It's gonna be fine because that web address will be available to my phone if it's on Vercel. I don't know why I made it so complicated for myself. This is super unnecessary. Raspberry Pi, you may go to sleep. I don't need you anymore. Oh, somebody didn't specify their Solana Pay. Deployment complete. That looks good. A client-side exception has occurred. Great. So it can't set me the QR code. But that's okay. Let's ignore that for now and check if we have the API hello. Yes. And that's the important thing. I don't care about the QR code so much. So how about change our address to this? Oh, that's why we do that if. Maybe I do need that. Otherwise I get the error that I have there. I'm pretty sure I need to put that somewhere else such that it can load the QR code properly. Yeah, they use an effect. Probably want to use that too. I mean, if I reload and I get those strobe lights, what the hell is that? Okay, look, we have a QR code that we can scan with our wallet. Let's scan this and it tells us request failed. Damn it. This is not helpful, is it? Vercel, do you have a log for me? Logs. Received get request. That was because I went there. So the wallet does not connect to my API because otherwise I would have gotten a log. I would have gotten a log. Request failed. But that's all it tells me. Okay, let's do a normal QR code scanner just to double check that what I have here is actually the link that I'm expecting. And it says Solana Pay, demo, loop creative, Vercel app, API, hello. It says all of that. Maybe it doesn't do a get request, but a post. And that doesn't work yet. Could that be somehow? Can I simulate myself a post request? Account, and then, I don't know, a pub key. And of course, maybe the correct. Which content type do you expect again? Application JSON. Oh, I need to type content type application. Maybe Windows is just annoying. See, and this is how I spent the entire night in front of my computer again, without actually really working on Solana Pay, just on everything else. Where did my motivation go? That's it. You just accept it. No output, nothing. Okay, I did 2 post requests now. Do they show up here? Yes. Super weird how I don't get any output from this though. But this is at least getting closer. Oh, this is complicated. But anyway, now that I did a post request manually, it tells me recent block hash required. Yeah, that's true. You're totally right. I completely forgot that. Although they didn't do that either. Complaint was we ain't got no recent block hash. So do we work on devnet or on mainnet? Let's start with devnet. Set a recent block hash. Vercel is pretty cool. As soon as I push something new, they just redeploy it. And it's ready. Ha! And now it also has the QR code. Let's check. Let's first try it with the phone. Because maybe it already works. Scan it. Request failed. Okay. Then let's do another manual and check the logs. Yeah, so we got a post request, API hello. You're right. I also didn't set the fee payer. I also need to do that manually. Yeah, you're totally right. Fee payer required. All those obvious things that I would in my normal brain totally know, but it's like past midnight, so my normal brain is asleep. Fee payer manually setting to the sender because I can. Add fee payer. Push. Building the add fee payer. Oh, Vercel is pretty cool. Let's start here again. Push out a post request. Oh! And we get something back. Whoa. Which also means maybe if I do this now, I could screen capture my phone, but then my computer would be fully overwhelmed, I guess. So I'm just going to show you like this. Boom. Ah, steady request failed. Yeah, would have been too good. Okay. But here I did get a transaction and the message is pretty much what I want to have. Just that I'm not quite doing it right for my wallet yet. But let's check logs one more time. So we've got a post. I didn't receive a post request from my phone, so from the wallet at all. Okay, so something I'm not doing right. Maybe, because I have HTTPS here, maybe what I'm just missing the HTTPS when I do this, HTTPS, because that's a link. Let's do that. Scan this. Look at my face. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the first page that's from the GET request. I would really like to screen capture this, but I won't. I'll just get bigger. This from the first page. It's transparent. Anyway, because it's green, where it loaded the image from the GET, right? And then my description, Solana Pay. That's Solana Pay. And then I can say, yes, I want to let that connect. And then it says failed to simulate transaction. Why? Because we can't perform that transaction because we ain't got no sol. And then I could sign it with my seed wallet, which I'm not gonna do. But what I am gonna do is a fun little hack. Hold on. Such that this stupid QR code scanning makes sense. I'm gonna, since we're on DevNet, whenever this guy connects, I'm gonna airdrop him one sol. Request airdrop to the sender. Because we're on DevNet, we can do this. Let's go. Because I don't want to manually send myself anything. I'm just gonna, whenever somebody scans this, get them an airdrop. So essentially, it's what the original page here did, where you had to click for the airdrop. And now you just scan this for the airdrop. I will show you that this is gonna work after it got deployed, of course. Oh, I'm quite big here, but that's okay. I'm gonna stay that big until I'm managed. Ready. Check this out. I'm gonna scan this. Boom. See, I still have 0 in there, right? And now I can allow this or not. I go back. And now suddenly I have $20. If only everything would be so easy. Because I got an airdrop. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice? I got an airdrop. The connection just gave me the airdrop. It's so cool. And Vercel did it. So it was from a different IP, not from my rate limited IP. because I request a lot of airdrops. If I now scan it again, I will again have to allow it. And now, look at that. You can't really, but I should really do a screen capture of this guy. But basically it's saying minus 133705 sol, because I also need to pay the transaction fee because I was set as the fee payer. And then I can tap to sign with Seed Vault. Since this is a saga, we're working with Seed Vault. So I can use password. Problem is I don't remember my password from Seed Vault. It's so secure, I can't even get there anymore. Way too secure. Literally, I set this up a month ago and I don't remember. And I don't actively use it because I don't actively use this phone. Okay, my bad. Let's look at it on Phantom because they had just set up a local wallet. Do this. Oh, look, it just failed to fetch metadata. Oh, Phantom, you suck. And Solana Pay. Look, because it's a green screen. I'm filming a green screen. Unable to simulate. I mean, I like the pop-up. But I'm going to close this again. And then I'm going to close this. And then Phantom will hopefully realize that it also got an airdrop. Oh, wait. I'm just not on DevNet. That's my problem. Oh, why is it so hard to find? Phantom, how do I get to DevNet? Ah, testnet mode. Okay. Attempt to debit an account that has no sign of prior credit. You know what? How do I add a new wallet here? Solflare, did you completely not allow anything except the seed wallet? Which, I mean, for usability is great. I mean, for keeping the users safe is great. I locked myself out of my own seed vault. Set a seed password. Okay, why am I using a saga? This is so complicated. But I want to be a good example and actually use the seed vault because I did complain about iJustine doing it wrong. So let's not do it wrong. There, look at my seed phrase. Even though we're just on DevNet and this really doesn't matter. Good. We've added DevNet seeds. So we got a new wallet now. Okay, let's do that game again with scan this and hope that we still get an airdrop. Look, it's got the image. It's nice. Failed to simulate, but did we get the airdrop? Yes, we did get an airdrop of 1 sol. Score. Now, scan it again, allow, and now it's simulating. And now I can tap to sign using Seed Vault. And then I can use my password. I should really set up biometrics for my Seed Vault. And then it's gonna approve the transaction. And it approved the transaction. Look at that, how good that looks. It's green. Transparent. Nice. Are you satisfied with our app? Yes. And we can see, view in Explorer. That's the transaction ID, and we sent 0.1337 sol. And the merchant would do that now, right? So the merchant also knows the transaction ID already, the signature, because it's literally creating the transaction. Because by signing the transaction, you don't change the signature of the transaction. The wording is complicated. Essentially, wait, let me go down here again. Here we have the transaction. As soon as the recent block hash and the fee payer are added, we essentially know the signature. Can I get it somehow? Transaction signature. That's not what I want. But then how do I get the signature? Is signature just always the signature of the first payer? But that doesn't make sense, does it? Or is it that? I've never actually tried this. Should we do a quick excursion on... I mean, it's just 1 a.m. Should we do a quick excursion on that? What is an actual transaction signature? Connection. And actually, I'm gonna copy the entire... Oh, I had Sol. Because I got sent 1337. There is the next proof that worked. I didn't even have to airdrop myself some. But anyway, okay. I got distracted. What was I doing? I was building the transaction. Then I add the block hash. Okay. I'm now interested in the transaction signature versus what I get back if I do send and confirm. Question 1. Is that the same thing? No, because that is null and that is a promise. Wow, I'm really too tired. So we don't have a signature, obviously, because we didn't sign yet. So first of all, let me just sign the transaction then. Let me sign it with my key pair. And then I also await this, and then we will compare values again. Okay, 1 comes back as a buffer. It could be that is But that wouldn't make sense. Why would you make the actual signature the signature of the transaction? I mean, then the wording would make sense, but is that really it? Is that really the same thing? Maybe it actually is. Let's dig in that. Ain't no time for sleeping anyway. The transaction signature as base 58 encoded string. So yeah, maybe it actually is just the transaction signature from the first signer. I mean, if that was the case, then I really learned something new today. Not just about Solana Pay. I'd like to see the source code. That comes from send transaction. Then you do a send raw. Send raw makes a send encoded, and send encoded, wow, this is digging deep. Result dot result. Okay, so this is something that is coming back from the RPC. So we don't even build it ourselves. But this buffer here, base 58, you probably don't have, right? So we need to include that. Let's see that. Wow! It literally is that. It literally is the signature of the first signer. That's at the same time genius and stupid. Now, I can't have the signature. Wait, I can only have the signature of the first signer if I am the fee payer. Which means if I set myself as the fee payer, then I can totally already have the transaction signature, even if I don't have the other signature of the other guy. But yeah, to make it easy for you, you can just pay the fee and therefore you know the transaction signature immediately as the merchant. Or you just search for it the usual way by adding some pub key that you search for, or well, essentially you know what's happening in the transaction and you can search for that. You can query that somehow. But let's do it that way, where we would set ourselves as the fee payer. So the merchant, and you know what? I'm going to give you that key into the API. And I'm going to commit this key, which is a stupid idea. Don't do this, asterisks. Don't. I mean, this is stupid. Don't do this, he says. I'm just casually hard coding my private key in here. What could possibly go wrong? But yeah, that's the merchant. And we can now set the merchant as a fee payer. Then we need to sign as the merchant. And we can now already, if we have this imported, which I'm gonna have to add npm I, we can log the transaction signature, because that will be the transaction signature of the transaction. Although I don't know if there are several signers, if the transaction signature will then change. But we will see. We will figure this out now, because we keep learning about Solana. It's fun. It's fun. But then the signature, it really makes sense because it literally is the signature. The signature is literally the signature. I mean, wow, okay, cool. I was today years old when I learned this. Wow, I'm really tired already. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing here? Yeah, I'm logging the signature. Okay. I signed as the merchant, and now I also see, my question is that signature now already part of the transaction? Yes, it is. If I serialize it like that, then the first signature is already part of the transaction because the transaction contains the signatures. Yes, okay, cool. So that should just work, that I just pass in that transaction and then my wallet will just add their signature and then it should all be fine. That's how we would do it if we want to be the fee payer, and with that we could do cool things like paying for other people's tokens and whatnot, so they don't even have to have Sol in their wallet for the transaction to go through if we want to airdrop them an NFT or whatever, which is what I'm intending to do here. So we need to do it like that, although I might find a better way to store my private key. Push it real good. Just waiting for you to deploy this, and I'm gonna make myself bigger again, such that you better see if I show my phone, although you don't really see that. But I allow this again. And now, do you see the difference? It's just 0.1337 Sol. And I can sign, there we go, confirmed. And the transaction, copy transaction ID, is FQYT is the transaction ID that I got from my wallet. And if I check the logs here from the post request, It's also this FQYT. Nice. So it really literally is the signature of the first wallet. Of the fee payer. The transaction ID is the signature of the fee payer of the transaction. That's it. That's it. That's it. Because yes, it does make sense to do it like that, because every transaction must have a fee payer, so there must at least be one signature, and that first signature is always the fee payer. And if anything else changes in the transaction, then also the signature of the fee payer changes, because it takes the entire transaction into the signature, of course, so block hash and everything. So that makes it unique. So you might as well take that signature to uniquely identify that transaction. It's actually quite genius, but it took me really that long to figure it out. Well, at least I figured it out. It's not like I have anything else to do at 1:30. Okay, so we can now do Solana Pay stuff and take over the transaction fees. So we partially signed our transaction. It was that simple. Super goddamn simple. We just signed our transaction, and that was all that we needed to change, because if we then serialize our transaction, our signature is part of that serialization, and the wallet, we can go to the specification again, because it's clearly defined what the wallet needs to do. So the post response, the transaction is a base 64 encoded serialized transaction. So that's what we send it. It's what we sent. And then this is what the wallet does. Essentially, if there are no signatures, then the wallet sets the fee payer to itself and puts a recent block hash and then signs the transaction. But if there are signatures, then the application, so we, the merchant, sets the fee payer and the recent block hash. That's what we did. And then we must serialize and deserialize the transaction before signing it to ensure a consistent ordering as a workaround for some issue. We didn't do that. It still worked. Okay, fair enough. That's something I forgot. Maybe reading the spec, I should do that. So I imagine that would be something like here before I sign, something like that. I would serialize it and then deserialize it for correct account ordering. Specification says that, so let's do it. Anyway, and then the wallet must not set fee payer or recent block hash, obviously, because that would change the signature. And the wallet must verify all signatures. And then the wallet can add their signature and send it out. Also, if any signature except the signature for the account in the request is expected, the wallet must also reject it. So there must only be one missing signature, and that one missing signature must be of the user public key. So the public key of the wallet, the account that we provided in the post request. Otherwise, the wallet should not let the user sign it. Yeah, I think we learned a lot today. I enjoyed this. It was partly frustrating in the middle, as it usually is. But now I really learned some stuff. And I think I want to end it here. I mean, obviously, we can now do all sorts of things with it. I could send a token, or I could send a cNFT. And I could even do it like that you don't need to have Sol in your wallet to receive it. Although for publishing a QR code, I probably will let you pay yourself, because otherwise somebody might ruin me. Maybe I still let you pay, but I need to sign to let you add the NFTs. So yes, my plan is to keep working on this and add a cNFT minting feature. So essentially you scan the QR code and then you essentially receive a cNFT. This was the basic idea why I'm doing this. And then I would put that nice QR code here for you to see. And then put your phone there and be like a tag. And then you can mint yourself a cNFT. Now, those NFTs are utterly worthless. They're completely useless. They don't hold any value. I need to say this for legal reasons. I am not intending to provide value for them. It's just a nice little cNFT that you can collect by watching my videos. And the earlier you collect, the higher your chances for a special edition or whatever, a legendary one or a rare one. Maybe I do legendary the first 24 hours and then rare the first week and then a regular one after that, and I can just all code that in there that it automatically does it correctly. Not today anymore, but eventually, but potentially eventually. But anyway, click that QR, not click, scan that QR code with your wallet and get yourself that NFT. It just costs a transaction fee. Yeah, but I mean, if you collect all of them, maybe there is some cool stuff that might happen, but I won't promise anything because I'm a lazy person and I can't be bothered to really do something. But it would be cool still to let you collect stuff. I mean, I'm a collector, and if I see a QR code and I can scan it to get an NFT, I'm gonna scan it and get an NFT. So if you're anything like me, then you might enjoy this. So just a trial. We'll try this out if people actually mint them, and if not, then I cancel it again. And that because it's also a bit of effort for me to set that up for every video, or at least for this one. Maybe I do it for all videos from now on. We will see. But yeah, now I know how it works because I know how Solana Pay works and transactions on Solana in general. It's really cool. I mean, all that does is just serialize a transaction and send it to the client. It's that simple. That's all that Solana Pay is really. And you can do anything with it. For instance, minting cNFTs. Okay, I had it up there for long enough now. Pretty sure you scanned it. Gonna come here. I mean, it's been a long day. As I said in the beginning, I didn't even want to make a video today, and then I ended up recording for another 6 hours. Happens. Hey, I learned something. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna have dinner now. And you scan that QR code and learn stuff about whatever you're interested in. Pick something, make a project, and watch my videos to learn more. Like this one about Solana Pay. How much did we actually talk about Solana Pay? Little. How much did we talk about everything else? More. It's fun. It's fun. I like it. Solana Pay specification, like the docs, are really good. Like you just need to read through them and it's all there. I just showcased it, what it can be used for. And it's pretty cool. Like if you're an actual merchant, like or anything, like if you're an app, you just tell the client, hey, sign this. I already signed it. You can also do that. It's so cool. It's cool. I like this. I got really excited about Solana Pay. So I think I'm going to stop here. We'll leave you with your cNFT and I will come back with a new video. Until then, you can like this one, you can go subscribe, and you can go watch these. And of course, you can mint yourself a cNFT by scanning that QR code. Bye bye.